As I am recording this, the clock is ticking on one of the most dangerous ultimatums issued by a sitting US president in decades. On Saturday night, at approximately 7:44 p.m., New York time, Donald Trump posted on Truth Social that Iran has 48 hours to fully reopen the Strait of Hormuz, or the United States will, in his words, hit and obliterate their power plants, starting with the biggest one first. That deadline expires Monday evening, and as of right now, Iran has not only rejected it, they have escalated. The Speaker of the Iranian Parliament, Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, responded by saying that all vital infrastructure and energy assets across the Middle East would become legitimate targets the moment the United States touches Iranian power generation. Meanwhile, Brent crude is sitting above $113 a barrel this morning, up for a fifth consecutive day. WTI is pushing past 100, and the spread between Brent and WTI just blew out past $14, the widest it has been in years, which tells you the international market is pricing in a level of seaborne risk we have not seen in a very long time. Welcome to my channel. I am Bogdan Makro, and this is where we cut through the noise and follow the money. If this kind of analysis helps you make sense of what is actually happening, hit subscribe and like the video. It costs you nothing, and it helps more people see this at a time when understanding these developments really matters. So let me walk you through what has happened in the last 72 hours, and why it matters so much more than just a headline about oil going up. The first development is the ultimatum itself and the context around it. According to reporting from Axios and PBS, just 24 hours before Trump issued this 8-hour deadline, he was publicly talking about winding down US military efforts in the Middle East. On Friday, he posted that the US was getting very close to meeting its objectives. Then Saturday night, the complete reversal. The PBS report specifically noted that Trump is cycling through an increasingly desperate list of options, jumping from diplomacy to sanctions relief to now threatening civilian energy infrastructure. That whiplash is important. It tells you there is no clear exit strategy here. And when markets see inconsistent signaling from the most powerful actor in the conflict, they do not price in resolution. They price in chaos. The second development is what the head of the International Energy Agency said just hours ago. Fatih Birol, speaking at the National Press Club in Canberra, Australia, described the current situation as worse than the two oil crises of the 1970s and the gas crisis from Russia's invasion of Ukraine combined. Let me translate that, because that is an extraordinary statement from the person who runs the world's top energy watchdog. He said daily oil production losses from this disruption have reached 11 million barrels per day. To put that in perspective, the 1973 embargo and the 1979 Iranian Revolution together cost the world about 10 million barrels a day. We have already surpassed that, and this is only day 24 of the conflict. Birol also revealed that at least 40 energy assets across 9 countries in the region have been severely or very severely damaged. He said no country will be immune to the effects of this crisis if it continues. The third development is Goldman Sachs raising its oil forecast again. This is the second upward revision in less than 2 weeks. According to their latest note, the bank now expects Brent to average $85 a barrel for the full year 2026, up from 77. WTI was raised to 79 from 72. Their analysts, led by Dan Striven, are now modeling Hormuz flows at just 5% of normal levels for 6 weeks, followed by a gradual 1-month recovery. And here is the number that should get your attention. Goldman described this as the largest oil supply shock on record, larger than the 1973 embargo, larger than the 1990 Gulf War. In their more adverse scenario, where the strait stays closed for 2 months, they see Brent potentially exceeding its 2008 all-time record. And they have explicitly said that at $100 a barrel, they are not describing a ceiling, they are describing a floor. The fourth development is on the physical side. What is actually happening in the water? According to CNBC's vessel tracking, only 21 tankers have transited the Strait of Hormuz since the war began on February 28. Before the conflict, more than 100 ships moved through that waterway daily. Roughly 400 vessels are sitting in the Gulf of Oman right now, anchored, waiting. An estimated 40,000 seafarers are stranded aboard ships on either side of the strait, according to Bloomberg. The maritime insurance market has essentially pulled the plug. Protection and indemnity clubs withdrew war risk coverage, and without that, ship owners cannot legally operate in those waters. So this is not just a military blockade, it is a financial one. The insurance collapse alone has created the de facto closure for the commercial market, even in areas where Iranian forces are not actively operating. Now, separately, each of these developments is significant. Together, they tell you one thing very clearly. The global energy market is experiencing its most severe disruption in modern history, and the two sides are escalating, not de-escalating. That is the core thesis here. Every piece of data, from the IEA's 11 million barrel a day shortfall to Goldman's record supply shock framing to the insurance market collapsing, all of it points in the same direction. The fifth development is the Saudi workaround, and why it is not enough. Saudi Aramco activated its east-west pipeline, the Petroline, a 1,200-kilometer system built in the 1980s during the Iran-Iraq War to bypass Hormuz. Aramco CEO Amin Nasser confirmed the pipeline hit full capacity of 7 million barrels per day on March 11. Loadings at Yanbu on the Red Sea have surged to 2.2 million barrels a day, more than double the pre-war rate. The UAE has also activated its Habshan-Fujairah pipeline, which can handle about 1.5 million barrels a day. But here is the math. According to the IEA, roughly 20 million barrels a day normally transit through Hormuz. Even with both pipelines maxed out and running perfectly, you are replacing maybe 8 to 9 million barrels of that. That leaves a gap of over 10 million barrels a day with no infrastructure solution. And it gets worse. Analysts have pointed out that the Petroline was designed for crude oil, not refined products. Europe was importing about 30% of its diesel and roughly half its jet fuel from the Middle East at the start of 2026. Those refined product flows have no pipeline bypass. That is why petroleum product markets are rallying even harder than crude right now. The sixth development is what is not happening, and that is diplomacy. According to Al Jazeera, Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi has stated the strait is open to countries that are not attacking Iran, framing it as a selective blockade. A handful of transits have been allowed. Ships from India, Pakistan, China, and reportedly, Japan may be next. But for Western-linked and Gulf state-connected vessels, the strait remains shut. The Saudi Aramco CEO was supposed to attend CERA Week in Houston this week, the biggest annual gathering of the energy industry. He is not going. Kuwait's state oil company CEO is joining virtually from Kuwait. Abu Dhabi's Mubadala Wealth Fund reportedly will not have representatives there either. When the heads of the Gulf's most important energy institutions are not showing up to the world's most important energy conference, that tells you something about how severe the situation on the ground actually is. So what happens next? I am not going to give you a price target because anyone telling you they know where oil is going tomorrow is guessing. But I can tell you what conditions to watch. If the 48-hour deadline passes and Trump follows through on strikes against Iranian power plants, Iran has already telegraphed it will retaliate against energy infrastructure across the entire region. That scenario could reportedly send Brent well above its current levels. If the deadline passes and nothing happens, the market may read that as a loss of credibility, which could actually reduce the geopolitical premium temporarily, but would not solve the underlying physical shortage. And if some form of negotiated passage emerges, where Iran allows selective transit for certain countries, you could see a slow grind lower, but the structural deficit remains enormous as long as the strait is not fully open. Goldman has been clear on this. They expect prices to remain elevated for months under any scenario short of rapid full reopening. Here is my question for you. What do you think happens when that 8-hour window closes Monday evening? Do you think we see military action on Iranian power infrastructure, or do you think this was another negotiating bluff? Drop your answer in the comments. I want to hear what you think. If this breakdown helped you understand the situation better, send it to one person who needs to see it. A friend, a colleague, someone who is looking at gas prices or inflation and does not understand why. Share the video. And if you are not subscribed yet, now is the time. We are covering this situation every single day as it develops, and things are moving fast. As always, I will see you in the next one. Stay informed, stay sharp. Oh, and before you go, YouTube thinks you might enjoy this video next, so let me know if they're right.